All right. Let's get this thing started. Got some questions. Before we really get into like questions about producing and beat making, all that kind of stuff, maybe we should start off with a little bit of background on all you guys and, a little bit about who you are, first and foremost, what city you represent, where you come from, maybe how you came up with your producer name. Did you have any producer names before the current name you have right now? Do you have a background in music? Let's set it off, J.Grooves. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I started making beats in high school, just like a fun thing to do. And then it came to time for college, and I was like, yeah, I really would just want to make beats. So I went to school for audio engineering because I'm in the school anyways, so like getting to be in the studio and stuff. So yeah, that's where I kind of like developed making beats and stuff. Got to be around a lot of dope artists, got to develop. And then I started taking guitar lessons, and yeah.
Okay, J.Grooves,
Yeah.
Rajah, what's your genesis, man?
So growing up, my dad actually was an instrumentalist. My sisters all played instruments. I was always surrounded by 90s R&B, 2000s R&B. I was always surrounded by it. So like, I knew I wanted to do something in music. I just didn't know what it was. And then I started making beats in junior high on GarageBand. And I was like, I can't make beats on here. Like, I gotta get FL Studio. So I did that. From there, I just stuck with it. And then my producer name's Rajah. I'm East Indian. So Rajah means king. My old producer name was LAD Beats because my last name's Lad. But people kept saying Lady Beats because the way I spelt it. So I had to change it. I was like, this isn't going to work out. So, that's about it. I just stuck with it. So.
Nice. I like it. Make some noise for Rajah. Can you guys hear okay? Yeah? Just when you guys are speaking, put the mic right up here. I know it's kind of comfy to do like this, but it gets really, really bad. You can barely hear it, but if I do it like this, you can hear it nice and loud. Know what I'm saying? All right. JUNIA-T, let us know the genesis, my guy.
Man, for me, I came from a house that was filled with music. My dad is a drummer in a band and played in many bands. And growing up, I got to go to like his rehearsals a lot of the time. So that's kind of like where I caught the music bug. When I first got to do my own things musically, it was like singing in the church choir, played drums at church and thing, played in the school band, emceed from like middle school to high school, and then pretty much decided to do music full time. So I've been producing my beats since high school till now, and it's been a journey, Started off with like Cool Edit Pro, some FL Studio.
Shout out Cool Edit Pro.
You know what I mean?
Acid Pro.
And
Audacity.
Audacity, that one too. And now I use like Ableton. I'm a musician as well. I play drums, I play bass guitar. I actually started teaching myself bass 2 years ago. And I'm an analog guy, to say the least.
Okay, understanding a little bit about that genesis, how has beat making as a whole changed and transformed since you guys started? With technology and just different systems, all that kind of stuff?
Well, I've only been making beats for 6 years, so technology is pretty much the same. I've definitely gone through a different process, especially going to school for audio engineering and getting an internship in a studio and having to record a lot of stuff live and stuff, and really getting into different genres like jazz and stuff, and like actually trying to play them and like study them. So I would definitely say that's my biggest influence and my biggest change in my production. Because when I started, I was just making trap beats, like the FL Studio crack and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just like a good mix of the trap for me and like that jazz and soul and stuff. I would definitely say that's what changed me.
For myself, about like 10 years ago is when I started, so there wasn't too much change in the software that I was using, aside from the GarageBand to FL Studio switch. But aside from that, just like getting new equipment, I realized there's a lot more, with technology improving, you had more resources, like you can do stuff on your iPads now, right? You can plug that into your computer or whatever, you can use that as a drum pad. when I started making beats, I used to look at all my favorite producers, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make like a Boy Wonder type beat, and a T-minus type beat, and then by the end of it, I'm gonna try and like fuse them together and like see if I can make a sound. And then Wonder Girl actually mentored me kind of a little bit.
Hold on, wait, real quick to interject. Anybody know who Wonder Girl is? All right, yeah, that's tight. That's tight. That's like a small stunt right there, like a little light stunt. All right.
Yeah, no, she's hella cool. Ebony's really cool, but like she taught me a lot about doing my drums and programming my drums. And then I used to try and make like the most complex beats possible. I don't know why. Now I look back and I couldn't even find like a tempo, like listen to some of my beats. But then over time, I guess my process when making beats is I kind of tried stripping things down. Still trying to make them complex, but still keep it open for artists.
A little bit of a pocket.
Yeah, so Benny probably remembers like at Feedback Friday or the old events. Like my
day one,
my beats are all over the place. But
yeah, they still had a bop, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, yo. As far as tech that's changed, I'd say how portable equipment is. Mad portable. I'd say if there's anything we've learned as far as that's changed, is like they've made it so easy for you to set up anywhere. Like I come from the time of feeling you need to be in like a big studio to do something really dope, and now they're giving you some high quality tools you can use that you could bring anywhere. Some of them are battery operated, you know what I mean? And like microphones right now and preamps, you know, you're listening to so much compressed music. You could do great things with the simplest things. And I think that's the craziest curve that we have now.
I saw, Madlib saying that he did the whole Bandana project. So Bandana with Freddie Gibbs, he did that all on the iPad. So literally while he was on the bus and stuff, he just made an entire Grammy-worthy album on an iPad. So definitely dig that.
Yo, I have like full access to a professional studio and stuff, like, cause they gave me keys and stuff. And honestly, I never go. I just make beats in my bedroom.
That's wild, actually. Is it ringing for you guys out there? Junior's mic is ringing.
Check.
1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Just want to make sure it's nice and warm for all the tidbits that's about to come. Let's talk about workflow. You know what I mean? Workflow meaning how do you get started on a beat? Does a beat just come out of thin air, or do you got to sit down at a computer or an MPC, or do you got to pick up some drums? You got to pick up a guitar. What's first, the bass line or the drum, the kick? Like, what's your guys' process?
I could say in the last 3-4 years, I've kind of changed my workflow from beat making to producing. And I guess what I want to say, the slight difference is when you get the luxury of getting to be in the room with the artist, that's an opportunity to be a part of the writing and a part of the moment. So when I'm producing, I like to spend some time before we even do anything. So that first hour and a half, we're just talking about sports, their favorite TV shows, how their family's doing, you know? And when we get to a point where we're completely on the same level energetically, and then we decide to get to the music, I tend to find that we're not thinking about the music. We're not trying to impress each other, or we're not worried about making mistakes. Because mistakes are sometimes the seed of genius, you know what I mean? So as a producer and as beat makers, we're making beats on our own time, but when we get the chance to be in a room with an artist, I like to encourage people to take that time at ground, because it's all it takes for a song to write itself if you just make the space for it, you know what I mean?
Nice.
For myself, same thing actually. When it comes to when you're in the room with the artist, just getting to know them, just vibing out with them, you want to make sure the energy's right. If the energy's not right, you're not gonna make no fire. You know, that's the biggest thing. So just vibing out with the artist, making sure you guys get to know each other, then you get into the process. When it comes down to me making beats though, I usually start off with a melody. Melody first, lay down as many melodies, counter melodies, anything that has not drums, I guess, you know? But then after that, I get into the drums, then I get into my arranging, so that's usually my process.
For me, I totally agree with you what you guys are saying, like with the energy and the artists and stuff. Like, there's nothing worse than being with an artist and just having bad energy. Like, it shows in the music. For the beats, for me, it's just something. It could be drums, it could be melody, just something that makes like my heart do something. You know, like it makes you like bounce, or you know, it makes you feel something, you know? Otherwise, I'd delete it and then start another one.
Untitled Beat 475.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, you guys are already talking about collaboration and the producer side more than the beat making side. So let's jump into a little bit of that. Like Junia, I said kind of earlier that you moonlight as a DJ, but you actually DJ for Jesse Reyes, right? Anybody know Jesse Reyes here in the building? So what's it like to DJ and make music and work with someone like Jesse Reyes? She's a notable R&B singer here in Canada, like on her way up, just featured on Eminem's album, doing some really, really big things independently. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
To be real, it's a real blessing to work with an artist like Jessie because she's remained herself the whole time. So if anything that I'm learning from working with somebody like Jessie is that like all of those same rules apply, that perseverance and keeping at it and working hard doesn't stop when you got a little bit of momentum going. You know what I mean? Because people are watching her do these crazy shows and like these TV slots and all this press. And you don't realize that she hasn't had a day off in like 11 days. You know what I mean? Or she doesn't go to sleep until 5 in the morning.
Right.
Answering all of her like social media comments and stuff. So hard work never stops. That's the one thing that I'm definitely learning from working with Jessie and being so up close to some success that's really budding. You know what I mean?
So looking and working with artists that are kind of on their way up, I guess, taking it all the way back, like what are some of your guys' inspirations? Like who are some of your favorite producers that maybe somebody in the audience should be like paying attention to or doing some research on?
Mine's kind of cliche. Oh, am I talking loud enough? I am, okay. But mine's kind of cliche, you know, just like Dr. Dre, Timbaland. But then
big ups to that, man. Big ups to that. We're in the producer room. You guys are allowed to cheer and clap. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got Jay Dilla too.
Yes, big ups to Jay Dilla. Yes, sir.
Modern-wise though, like T-minus. Like I met him 2017 at the Battle of the Beatmakers when I was in it. A real humble dude, and like when we were talking and stuff, just the vibe you get, like learning from him, and then even like going back to listen to his old stuff, like crazy. You know, like just all his beats are crazy. Boy Wonder, Wonder Girl, like I said, like she showed me some stuff, and like who else you got? There's so many people. Like it's just hard to like name them all.
It's
you know?
true. I
But
kind of got you on the spot like that,
people,
but that's how we do. Grooves.
Yeah, so early up, like since my style of music has changed, my influences have kind of changed. So right now, I'd say one of my biggest is Terrence Martin.
Ooh.
If you guys know that cat.
Full-blown musician.
Yeah, he's a full-blown musician. He produces records, like he makes his own records, like Robert Glasper too. I really dig him because he plays
Fire.
like those guys.
Yes, we got some heads in the house, man. People be knowing.
Yeah, honestly, on the spot, I can't think. It's always the worst trying to think of people on the spot. But yeah, those two cats are.
No, that's good. That was good. That was a good kind of look into your guys' world and all that kind of jazz. And I'm guessing between having who you're inspired by and the artists that you're looking to work with, what are some of the biggest barriers in finding artists to work with? Because you guys, you craft beats in your own lab for a while. We kind of glazed over that a little quickly because, again, you said 6 years. I'm sure you guys have been doing it for almost 10 years, making beats, right? So now that you guys have gone from doing beats all by yourself and moving to a bigger room, what are some of those barriers in finding an artist that you want to work with or that you want to sell a beat to or that you want to just, collaborate with?
So for me, since my market is mostly online based, it's mostly people finding me. I would say that's the one thing that I do not like about selling beats online is how many people hit you up collab ? Type stuff. So I just kind of graze over those, and there's some people who I really dig, and I can see that are doing stuff, and I kind of yo, yeah, let's do something. I'll send you a pack, stuff like that. Or like they'll have like a thing and they'll, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
For myself, like I was saying before, like the energy is like a really big thing. Like if the energy's not there, like it's hard to vibe with the artist, hard to connect with them, hard to have like the same vision for the record, whatever you're trying to put together. I love like I'm really open to working with like anyone, honestly. Like I just love making music for music. You know, that's why I got into it, the passion, nothing else. And just making good stuff, whether it's getting in the studio with another producer, making like a nice beat together, artists like making references, final projects, like full projects, full records, like whatever it is, like as long as you vibing right, I feel like that's really all that matters when it comes to finding who you want to work with and stuff. So.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yo,
might as well.
For me also, I find it hard to work with ego.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
It definitely kills a lot of stuff.
Universally, absolutely. And before we get to Junior, what do you mean by ego? Like in general, like working with artists, what do you mean by ego?
Like, I don't know. Sometimes there's an ego that like the popularity of the person. So there's that, but also like the unwillingness to explore and like maybe find something new. They kind of have a predisposition of how they want it to sound before we even get in the room.
Right. So, I mean, just to stay on that topic, what's some advice for working with producers like yourself? If you're an artist in the crowd or even just another producer, what's some advice for approaching people or approaching you guys so that, you know, a situation is devoid of ego? Shout out to the mic. Sounding fantastic now. Yes.
I think it comes back to what he was really saying and what we started with. Is like the vibe is one big factor. And I feel like when you take the time to do that, you're really limiting the space for ego. Because I find like ego is usually a product of fear. So if they don't know who they're working with or if they're like have insecurities themselves creatively, that's going to be like their safety net. But when you like really neutralize the space and just humanize the room, it's easy to get the best out of an artist, you know? As far as challenges I've really had as far as connecting with artists, it's finding artists when I travel. It's like, to have things like this in your city is really beautiful because you've got somewhere where you can congregate and see the community and not only just be here to like make a creative exchange. You have a social space where you can talk and tell jokes and really feel that person out. And then after, you know, make some collaboration plans after that, you know?
Very, very big. I agree with that. That's what the whole thing's about, right? When we're talking about building, it's like, as creatives, you got to be close to like other bodies of water, like I was saying before, right? Other you just dry out, right? Another artist can allow you to just feel inspired and, you know, and add to what you're doing. You guys collaborate and create some dope stuff. So I really dig that. Cool. So moving into like understanding, you know, that world of being a producer, being an artist, wanting to meet them, what are some of the best ways to approach artists like yourself? Because, again, J.Grooves, you said that you're more of an online sales kind of guy. You cook up beats at home and you sell them online.
For now, yeah.
Right? And then Rajah, you've been getting song placements, doing some really dope collaborations with producers in the industry. And Junior, you kind of went from, again, rapper, MC, to like producing your own projects and then curating your own artists. And I heard a little bit of that new Studio Monk, and good gracious. So, yeah, what are some of the best ways to approach? You guys talked about a vibe, but before the vibe can happen, how can somebody approach you to have a genuine kind of like, you know, interaction? That's not like, yo, I'm trying to get this free beat off you. Hi.
The internet's a great thing. And I know sometimes some people may complain about it, but like, shoot your shot, man. Like, everybody's just a human being. You'd be surprised, like, how often some of these artists will check their social media or which one's their favorite. And they just want to be reminded that they're human beings. So the more you could be human with some of your favorite artists, you're increasing your chances of doing records with them. Like, my favorite story of that is my partner in crime, this guy named Lord Quest. Are you guys familiar with Lord Quest?
Yeah.
Okay, so peep it. Y'all know Schoolboy Q?
Yeah.
All right. Fun fact, Lord Quest produced the intro of Schoolboy Q's first mixtape. setbacks.
Dangerous.
How he got that? He didn't even DM him. He just like straight up tweeted at Schoolboy Q, yo, I think you're fire. Can I send you beats? And he said, sure. And then now he's on the album. And then he ends up producing a record for him with Raekwon, you know what I mean? Sometimes it could be that simple, because we're all just people at the end of the day.
That's fire, man. Anyone, you guys have any other stories like that? Like, you know, shooting your shot or collaborating with artists?
I'd say for online, it's just like an open thing. Like I find when people like ask something of somebody, then it's a little bit off-putting. If it's just like an open thing, you compliment them, and then you just say, hey, here's my stuff, check it out if you want to. You're much more likely to check it out with an open mind.
I feel like honesty, like when people approach you with honest intentions and everything's just with honest intentions. There we go. All right. When people approach you with just honest intentions and they just come at you open, like you really, I feel like that's the best way you can get out to people. You can connect with them. Like JUNIA-T was saying, like shooting your shot. Like most of my placements came because I just messaged people online. Like my Eric Bellinger one, like that was from hitting him up online. Like Ye Ali, like funny story. Eric Bellinger, that record I had with him that came on his last album. Ye Ali posted online. He's like, sending loop kits or loops out to producers. And I'm like, this guy's not gonna reply to me, you know? Like, I'm just a small producer from Calgary. I messaged him, I'm like, yo, send it through. And this guy, he was like, yeah, bet. Sent it through. A week later, like, I made a beat with my boy Alo from Toronto. He was also on the Chris Brown record and Terry Lane's record that came out yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Or today, last night.
10 p.m.
midnight.
Last night.
10 p.m. last night, yeah. So, we did that. I tossed a loop onto there from that kit that Ye Ali sent me, and then sent it back to him. He got in the studio with Eric Bellinger the next day, and then sent me a clip. We had a record, and it's crazy.
Fire, man. That's fire. Yeah. Give it up, man. Clap for that. So speaking about how quick that interaction all went down, do you guys feel like it is necessary to leave your city to get on? Do you feel like it's necessary to say Calgary's not big enough, man, can't be done? Toronto's not big enough, can't be done?
Yeah, I could say enjoy your city, be a part of like the community for sure, but to like really have perspective of what's possible, you have to leave. And it's not because you're in Calgary. Anybody from any city needs to leave their city to know what it's like. There are people that live in LA that if they just stay in LA, they think LA's the world, and LA doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of the world. You know what I mean? The people that really get music travel for perspective. That's what I think, at least.
Most definitely. No, I agree with that completely, because like the perspective you get when you go to different cities, like you just see what's out there. Like you meet people, you grow your network, and if you like being from Calgary, born and raised, like you have a certain network here in the city that if you stick to just your city, you're limited to your network. I took marketing in university, and like one thing I learned is you gotta reach all different corners wherever you can to just meet as many people, because you never know what relationships you can build, what comes out of the relationships. So like honestly, as any producer, artist, whoever you are, wherever you are, like you can do it from your city, but it's always good to get that perspective from outside as well. So
yeah, I agree with that for sure. I actually wasn't born in Calgary. I was born in Red Deer.
Okay.
And then I moved to Seattle, and that's actually where I started making beats.
Oh,
and the scene was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But honestly, like, I probably will never leave Calgary. Like, not to travel and stuff, but like, just like to live here because I love it.
You just love it. Making beats here, collaborating with artists here, or just?
Yeah, like anything is possible with, especially with the internet and stuff. Like, we have, like, I just found about Rajah and like the fact that he has major label placements. I didn't know anybody from Calgary actually had major label placements.
And there you go. Now we know.
Yeah, that was cool.
So you can do it from your city, but you gotta get out there and make sure that you're experiencing the world and that you're building relationships and that you're not getting stuck, but you're bypassing the glass ceiling in your city, but then coming back and laying fruit. Is that kind of what you guys said? All right, that makes sense. So, I mean, as like a community, not just Calgary community, not just Alberta, but Canada as a whole, what's your perspective on, allowing us to make even bigger records, bigger songs, bigger music, making a bigger splash in the industry of music as a whole?
Kind of like why I'm out here is take the time to discover what's happening in other parts of the country. You know what I mean? If it's just up to the institution of Canada, we would not know about each other. Do you know what I mean? We're lucky to have things like Manifesto, 10 at 10, Stew Jams in Vancouver. There's these little pockets of community that bring people out. So knowing what's happening in other provinces and connecting with artists in other provinces, I feel, will make us stronger as a country. You know what I mean? Like, you're on a record with Tory Lanez, right? At first glance, you don't really see the bigger Canadian movement in that. That's Tory, a Toronto artist, getting production from a producer in Calgary. That's a good step for, like, Canadian music. You know what I mean? Like, Sunreal and Rich Kid did an album together called The Closers with the intention of bringing awareness to Canadian music. You know what I mean? So for me, the things that I actively do is I try to travel to as many other Canadian cities as possible and just meet people that are serious and just collaborate and keep in touch. Because at least now I'm aware of somebody else in the country that's making dope music. Like if I didn't go to Vancouver, I wouldn't know about Potato Head people. Are you guys familiar with Potato Head people? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no clue. You know what I mean? Somebody played me Potato Head people, I lost my shit. You know what I mean? But that's just one thing I think we should do.
I don't know, yeah. I just think with technology and stuff, like, we're not bound by the record labels anymore. We're not bound by these major studios and stuff. Anybody can do anything from anywhere. And I think that that's definitely, we'll start to see that in the movement of like Canada and anywhere that hasn't been popular in the past.
I feel like, I don't know, there's so many barriers that Canada already has been breaking, like when you look at the last 2 decades. So no matter where you are, like JUNIA-T was saying, traveling to different cities in the country, like you get a whole, like that perspective thing, and then you get to meet people and like that collaborative process and connecting all the dots between the whole country. Like, I feel like Canada actually at one point, we were charting, like we were all over the charts. We were running shit for like, oh, excuse my language. We were running it for like a good minute. So like at the end of the day, I feel like we have a certain ceiling which we might set based off our successors and guys who've done amazing stuff in the industry. But the number of people, the number of talented musicians that are coming up too, like connecting with each other, we can, like, opportunities are endless. So
I do agree. Actually, one note, if you guys didn't know, like even taking it all the way back to like this newer 2010s era, another producer from Calgary actually produced The Weeknd. So The Weeknd's first album, it's Elangelo, yeah. Right? He's from Calgary, right? So he moved to Montreal and Toronto way, but he's a cat from here, right? So the major label placements is definitely a dope thing to like, enter and start like seeing that side of things. So Rajah, do you want to speak on, what was that first moment like when you got your first major label placement, man? What was that moment like? Like, was that before or after you texted me, and like, how did you feel? And
okay, so when we'll talk about the Tory Lanez, Chris Brown thing, because that's probably the biggest thing that's happened so far for me. So back in March, I think it was like March 2nd, so Tory was dropping snippets from Chick State 5 for like a good like 6 to 7 months. Like the Sprung remix was the first one, the Jerry Sprunger joint. And when I heard that, like I'm a really big 90s and 2000s R&B fan, so I was like, I need to get on Chick State 5. Like I love Chick State 4, 3, 2, like the first one. Been a fan of this guy for a minute. I was like, I need to get on this. So when I first seen that, I met Tory 3 times. One time in 2015 when he came to Calgary for Sled Island. The year after, on 2016, I sweet talked my way onto his tour bus.
What?
Pause. Hold up.
Do we want to go into the details of that, or? All right, just making sure.
So yeah, no, I got onto his tour bus, connected with Play Picasso. And at the time, I was like, okay, like, this is going to be my way to get a placement with Tory, because I'm a big fan, but, like, I'm a huge fan of Play Picasso. Like, working with this guy would be amazing. Then the guy ghosted me for, like, 2 years, and then
just a small amount of time.
Yeah. And then I met Tory last summer when he came to Calgary through his artist Davo. And me and Davo work really closely. He signed to One Umbrella. And when I got to meet Tory that time, me and Tory never even like talked much. We just said hi, bye. That was it. And then that's when the snippets started coming out. And then I reached out to Papi Yer, who signed to him as a songwriter. And he produced a Sprung remix. So I was like, man, like, let's get something done. Like, I'm down. He's like, yeah, send vibes through. That goes with what JUNIA-T was saying. Like, just shoot your shot. You never know who's going to say anything. So after I messaged him and he said, like, yeah, let's get some work in, we did a 21 questions flip, which they actually sent out to 50 Cent to do a verse on it. He didn't. I don't know why, but the beat was crazy. Like, it was nuts.
We got to hear that beat, man.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. And then we did Best Friend by G-Unit. We did So Sick by Neo. Falsetto by The Dream. And then I was about to give up. And then all of a sudden, I was at school. I just finished an assignment. I was like, next day I had an assignment presentation, all this stuff. And I was like, someone was itching me to do Take You Down by Chris Brown. And it was in that time period. And I was like, that's one of my favorite Chris Brown records, like, growing up. Like, it'd be crazy. So I messaged Papi Yer. I was like, did they flip Chris Brown on the project? He's like, not yet. I made the beat, sent it out to him that night. I was like, man, we got one. He finished it up, sent it out to Tory. Next day I was out to dinner. And then he messages me. He's like, man, I'm going to the studio with Tory. Like, say your prayers. So I just kept my faith, made my prayers. 2 o'clock, I was sleeping. I got a call. I'm like, man, I don't want to pick this up. I'm so tired. I got to wake up the next day. And then someone told me, it's like, just pick up the phone. So I did. And he's like, man, are you sleeping? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, congratulations. You made the Chicks tape. And I'm like, that's crazy. He's like, we're saying this out to...
You guys got to clap for that right there, man. You guys got to clap for that.
No, I appreciate that. He's like, we're sending it out to Chris Brown this week. Tory went to tour with Drake that time. The beat literally went from Calgary to Miami to Europe, back to LA to Chris Brown, back to Miami, and then they finished it up there. So.
Woo, man, that's big. Yeah, give another round of applause for this guy. Because that's also about shooting your shot, but also having persistence, right? Like you said, he kind of ghosted you for 2 years. Not like 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. That's a long time. But you stay persistent and positive, and obviously some things opened up for you, so that's what's up. Junia, can you speak about the Studio Monk? Now, this has been your moniker, you know, in the past few years now, as being and converting over to production. And you have these projects where you produce, but then you bring in these world-class artists, singers, rappers, everybody to be part of your project. So can you, like, take us into that world, what that's like to want to become a curator, producer, and bring all these elements together? What's that process like, and why did you want to go this route versus maybe just being an MC?
I had a really good time MCing. I love it still. There was a part of my creativity I wasn't making space for, and I didn't really notice it until I didn't have to make beats anymore, you know? Because when I was just making beats, I was trying to make the most fire beat to rap to.
Most fire.
You know what I mean? Strictly the most fire. But then, like, when you get to be in the studio with just people that love music, and then you don't put a limitation on what's possible, the moment starts making the music. And I think that's when I really started to zone into being a producer, because I'm not just making the soundscape. I'm a part of inspiring the moment and making space for the artist to be the lightning I capture in the bottle. You feel me? So I wasn't really, like, you know, scheduling people to do specific kind of songs. I would just book studio sessions for like 8 hours, and I'd pick like 2 or 3 people that I know are good energy people and invite them to the studio. You know what I mean? No expectations. We'd just be kicking it. And then when I'd get to like start making something after we'd been kicking it, I would just hear mumbling behind me. You know what I mean? And then, like, once I get to the beat to a point where I hear some mumbling, I stop the beat and I just go, go in the booth, fam. You know what I'm saying? And the chances are, like, the first recording is either the chorus, the verse, or the whole damn song. You know what I mean? And then now we got something where everybody's a part of it. You know what I mean? So I guess the whole Studio Monk process opened me up to, like, what the moment can write. You know what I mean? When you leave space for the day that you're making the song, some great things can happen. Like I used to go to the studio with the beat, figured out the whole song in my head, not realizing that like I'm inviting another artist in the studio for a reason. You know what I mean? I want their magic. Like I shouldn't be trying to tell them how magical to be. My job is just to get them as comfortable as possible, that magic they have is like an autopilot thing. They don't even have to think about it. They're just emoting. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what Studio Monk has been, is me learning to get that experience all the time.
So what kind of features do you have on the project? Who are you been working in the studio with? Who do you really kick it off with? What's your energy with Jesse Reyes like? What's who else is in the secret
Everybody
sauce?
on the album, like every session was exactly the same. So I have Jessie on the album, and like that song was like her showing up at 2 a.m. and being like, "Yo, Jude, you still awake?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." And we just caught up for about life, and then like finished the song at 7 a.m. You know, got like Sean Leon on the record a couple times. I've got River Tiber on the album. I got my boy Benjamin A.D. from London, England, Milo Smith from Atlanta, and a bunch of people from Toronto too. But for this album, I cut 250 songs
Sheesh.
over like 2 years. And like, those are all one-day sessions. It wasn't like we started an idea, we came back to it. Like we came, we vibed out, and we always left with a full song. If you ask anyone that's worked with me, I'm notorious for this email called Tonight's Work. You know what I mean? And there were always complete ideas, but because we made room for it, you know what I mean? So like all those songs were one-off sessions, you know what I mean? I guess that's what I learned from that.
So, because you've been moving as a producer in the industry, is there any tips that you have for somebody that wants to take production from just making beats, hot fire beats, to like a full-time gig, full-time producer gig? What's some of the things that they should look at doing or approaching or preparing themselves for or contacting? What should they do to maybe, get on a label like yourself are, and start working on projects like yourself?
One thing I can say is that there's many ways to skin a cat, you know what I mean? And like, sometimes we're just so fixed with the dream, like the end goal, what it looks like in your head, not realizing that the dream is super simple. Like, for me at least, I know like for us music lovers, all we want to do is be able to wake up and make music every day and be able to pay the bills and do some simple things, And like, there's many ways to do that. I started out doing it through performing, and then I got into making product, which was like albums and selling albums. And then I got into being paid to produce for artists. And then I got into selling my music to places that needed music,
What do you mean by that?
I'm glad you asked. So like anything that's got a visual or is like advertising, chances are they need music. And it doesn't always have to be on the most prestige platform. It could be a YouTube ad. It could be a YouTube video. It can be your local radio station. It could be a variety of things. You just gotta take the chance to organize your music and go out there and find people that need the music. Because I have homies that don't even work with artists, and they're making like $200,000 a year.
That licensing money is serious.
Just licensing, you know what I mean? And like, they're living a life of music. They're living the exact same dream. You know what I mean? So be open, but also do your homework.
Licensing. Let's touch on that really, really, really briefly. What does that look like for people that don't understand how to enter licensing? Because, you're selling beats online, J.Grooves, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what platforms are you using online to sell your beats? And are you doing it just as leases, as exclusives? Are you asking for customs? Like, what's going on? What's your process of finishing a beat and then sending it for commerce?
So I've been trying to do this for a very long time, and I started with like terrible websites like Wix and stuff, no success and stuff. So I bought the subscription to BeatStars, and
Shout out.
because I saw that how like other producers were doing it and stuff like that. So so I got BeatStars, and then I was like, okay, like let's give this a try. So then I start. First of all, I kind of predetermined my branding. so that it wasn't like a mainstream thing, because licensing is super saturated because of everybody wants to do it. But yeah, so it's very saturated. So I had great success with hitting a niche market of licensing. Basically, I upload my beats to BeatStars, and then because BeatStars, they allow you to create a website and then add your domain to it. So it's like your own website, basically, and all the stuff is through BeatStars. So the people that find you through YouTube, which is my main place that people find me, so it's linked to my BeatStars account. So basically, it's like a store, like an online store. They hit the link, they go to my BeatStars page, they see all the licenses that I offer, all the prices, see what they can afford, and then they purchase from there. And it's nice because I don't have to deal with, I know it sounds bad, but I don't have to deal with the artist, because sometimes, especially if money is an issue, just kind of like a pull there. You're like, I'm gonna pay you next week or something. So they do it on their own time, and it's really nice because then I just get notifications to my phone, like you made a sale and stuff like that. So the nice thing about licensing is if you have the views, it can be good. It can be good monetarily for sure, and it can allow you to do what you love full time.
Okay, so to get on kind of the shallow tip, and you guys don't have to answer, but what was the biggest, production or beat check that you guys have gotten to date so far, just for a project that you've worked on or something? And you don't have to give that number, but you can say, it's above $1. It's
Price is Right vibes.
it's less. It's less than $100,000. It's less than $2 billion. I'm just saying. But what was it like to get that first, chunk of change from, again, that exchange of selling a beat or, getting a placement or any of that kind of stuff?
I would say mine was very gradual because I didn't get it wasn't like a placement where you get like an initial fee and stuff like that. So my best selling beat has made I believe it keeps going up, but it's like 20 grand.
Sheesh!
American.
Let's go. Yo, give it up, man. Yeah.
That's some homegirl making some paper out here, player.
Right? This man is investing in residual income. You make the beat once, you get it, and then you're leasing it out.
It's very addictive. But on the artistic side, sometimes it's a little bit draining because then you have to hear all the people that send you what they did over it.
Yo, guys.
Which sometimes is really fire, and you're like, ooh, I like that.
Super hot fire.
Other times, not so much.
Super hot fire. I kind of want to open this up to the floor. I don't want it to be just a conversation between me and the artist. So, for all the other producers, even if you guys are battling tonight, you guys can have a question. We'll open up the floor for 10 minutes. If you guys have any questions about, what it means to be, I'll take my mic to the crowd. Yeah, and then what it means to be like an artist or a producer, or how to navigate the music industry as a producer. Do you guys have any questions? Right over here. Come on up to the stage, and then I'll just pass you my mic.
Good. Yo, what up? My name is Esteban Sound. I just wanted to ask you guys, how do you keep your sanity when you're doing midnight studio sessions, staying up 5 a.m., 3 a.m., 7 a.m.? How do you keep your sanity, your mental sanity when you're doing that?
Yo, that's an amazing question. Because I'm a night owl, so night owls unite, you know what I mean?
Hey.
First, how I got introduced to that lifestyle is usually it's an artist that finds their comfort zone at that time of day, and you adopt their work schedule. But if that's not your natural nature, naps. Naps are real. Healthy sleep is real. And good food in the studio will keep you going. Red Bull is not the wave all the time. You know what I mean?
All the time.
Some people do the Red Bull things, you know what I'm saying? You could do it, but I'd say that bowl of fruit in the studio really helps. Having lots of water really helps. and like
Snacks, nuts.
just yeah, man. Just
Big
give people-
difference, man. From junk
Chips
food to
Ahoy?
like, yeah, freshening up.
It's definitely got to be natural. I heard rumors about Jay Dilla, how he would work from 9 to 5 and then be like, yo, I'm done. And then he would still make beats after like everybody left. But like, it's just like what you feel comfortable with, you know?
You kind of force yourself to get used to a certain lifestyle after a while. So like for myself, being in school, working a part-time job at the time, and then also making beats, I had to force myself to kind of just manage my time. So from the morning to the afternoon, I was at school, and then I go to work, and then after that, I'd force myself to stay up till like 2 o'clock every day, and then just make beats. You know, so you get kind of used to it. But the food thing, like Oreos, keep me so energized throughout the night. Like you don't with the milk too when you dip that shit.
That's how he did it. Oreos with milk, then send to Tory Lanez. Sold. Love it. All right, any more questions for our panel of seasoned producers? My guy Theory, what up?
First off, bless y'all for being here. What's the one thing that y'all could say that set you apart from what you're doing before, or maybe what people are doing now to get you into the position that you're doing?
Word, that's a dope one. I would say what set me apart is sticking to what I believe is dope. You know, it's really hard sometimes when you want to make something that's successful sounding. Sometimes you feel like you gotta follow what the radio sounds like. And like the 10,000 hour rule applies to everything. So if you spend 10,000 hours like getting good at copying what's on the radio, you're only gonna get good at the copying stuff on the radio. So you gotta also put that 10,000 hours on what you think is dope. Because I tell you, once you cross that 10,000 hours, like you are you, and no one can take that from you.
Period. That's exactly like what I was gonna say. Yeah.
That was pretty close to what I was gonna say too. So.
All right. Oh, TK, Dragonfly Empire in the building right here. What's going down?
What up, what up? Question for my boy J. Ross over there. What VSTs and what plugins and what DAWs are you guys using?
VST-wise, I use Omnisphere like all the time. Omnisphere is crazy. Like you got so many sounds in there, like bass sounds. You got your exotic. Like, do you have the exotic pack thing in there? The flutes, crazy. But like, you got Omnisphere is crazy. Plugin wise, Fab Filter. I use a lot of stock actually FL Studio plugins, which is kind of weird, but it works for me. But yeah, no.
It's not
Massive
the
as
tool,
well.
man. It's how you use it, man. So
It's how you use it. That's
how
facts.
you use it, dog.
Fruity
So,
Parametric EQ I use like on everything. So yeah.
Yeah, Omnisphere is dope, and Keyscape too. It's made by the same company. Like, they make fire samples for sure. I would say in the last 2 years, and especially since I've had a little bit more income to get other stuff, I've definitely experimented with like a lot of analog stuff. Like I got a Prophet at home, like a analog synthesizer. And I do like a lot of guitar work too, so like tube amplifiers through the preamp, like tube preamps and stuff like that. You can experiment so much with like so little.
Trust me. What I'm using Ableton right now. That's the DAW.
Boom. I think
plugins I'm
Ableton's
using,
an official sponsor of AEMCON, so.
Yeah, set in the bag.
Right.
I use a lot of Fab Filter stuff, like all like the EQing and even like the synthesizers are dope. I'm a big fan of analog stuff too, so I do a lot of outboard routing. I do a lot of live off the floor recording. And another one for people that want like easy ways to play chords and stuff, I like this thing called Cthulhu. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Cthulu. Real cool ways to get like melodies started off the ground.
Gems. Take out your phone, write it down. Any more questions for our panelists? We'll take 2 more. Oh, what's up? Come on up, Jessa, 10 out of 10. How you doing, girl?
Hi, it's just a random question for everybody, and not you, Benny, but like all 3 of you guys. Who is the best producer in the music industry right now, in your opinion? Like,
That's a good question.
you know, I just wanna know. I mean,
She's trying to get signed.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of great producers. I think my answer will be based on taste, strictly.
Okay.
For me, it's Salam Remy. Whew. Yeah.
Crazy. Can you speak about his catalog real quick?
Like, okay, my whole favorite thing about dope producers is like forever music. If you can make something and it doesn't expire, you're fired to me. So you
Yes.
guys know the Come Through and Chill record? The Miguel?
Yeah.
How it has J. Cole on it? Well, what you might not know is that it came out 2 years ago on the Salam Remy album. And it was so good that they could put it out again. So Salam wins for me.
Okay. And the Fugees as well, right? He did the Fugees project. Salam Remy's done so much. Black Thought. Oh, there you go, Salam Remy. There you go. You all know this song, right? Yeah, that's his favorite guy right there. All right. Rajah, J.Grooves.
I'll let J.Grooves go first.
I
Think of no ones.
Yo, yeah, it's just purely based on taste. But I really like Terrence Martin just because of the sheer catalog that he has. Like, he does, like, gangster records like YG and stuff, and, like, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. But then he's also, like trained in jazz, and he's playing shows with Robert Glasper and Herbie Hancock. Like,
Yeah. Repertoire.
repertoire.
All right, Rajah.
There's like way too many. I feel like nowadays, like there's so many talented producers, right? It's crazy. But one guy who I actually just connected with recently was OG Parker. And we were actually sending ideas back and forth this past week. And just the stuff he's been saying to me, man, like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like this guy has placements with like everyone, but then when you hear like the stuff that's like unreleased and like the melody loops, and this guy's just crazy on the keys. Like it's hella inspiring, and the stuff he has out now too. Like I don't know, it moves me. Like I feel it. So I'd say he's one of my favorite right now. But there's way too many. Like it's too hard to narrow it down. So
Cool. All right. One last question. All right. You have to meet me halfway or something, bro. No, I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
My mans. If you guys took where you are today and you could look back and talk to yourself when you were starting, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Ooh, age-old question.
Yo, I know. So I would say that one thing that I totally overlooked is the fact, like, you have all these professions. You have, like, doctor and lawyers and stuff, and they go to school and study each aspect of every part of the thing. And when you're a beat maker, like, there's none of that. It's all you teaching yourself. So really, like, study, like involve yourself and totally surround yourself in the, like, just the sheer, like, studying of every little aspect of everything. And then delete it. Because you have the knowledge and nobody needs to hear it, but you've learned something.
I'll probably tell myself two things. The first thing would be, you're right on track, would be the first one. Because I feel like sometimes when you're going through those ups and downs in life, the downs really feel mad heavy, and you don't realize it's about to slingshot you into some, like, sunshine.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
And the next thing I'd say is, I know it's kind of cliche in the world of Instagram, but like I'm someone that sucks at taking pictures. Like my mom sees me tour the world and she's like, "Oh, you're in Paris, but you're not in the picture." You know what I'm saying? So my one thing I tell my younger self is to take more pictures for memories that really matter. You know what I'm saying? So
there's like lots of times like in my come up where I felt really discouraged and was about to quit, and I'm like, you know what? Like I'm just gonna go to school, get my education, just live a regular life. But then like the one thing I'm happy that I did was that through those times of discouragement, feeling like nothing's gonna happen, you learn the biggest lessons from that. So just staying persistent with it and just not letting that get the best of you and just powering through. Because at the end of the day, like what you gain from those times, those lows are the best lessons that you're gonna get in life. So
I do agree. All right, yeah, guys, give it up. Now we can't we can't like sit here and talk all night, so we're gonna wrap the discussion panel as is now. But like Juno was saying earlier, man, this is community, right? This is a chance to network and share. So you're going to see them in this room for the next 2-3 hours. Definitely come over to them, say what's up, get their Instagram handles, follow them, send them a DM, just talk. You always look into these guys. I'm sure you guys are looking to be mentors and being good teams of advice for people, right? So yeah, give up to our panel right here, J.Grooves, Rajah, and JUNIA-T. Now, we brought Junia out here again because he's coming up with this project called the Studio Monk, and I want you to kind of, dabble in, just give us a couple tracks off that album, what we can expect, because we're gonna bring you back in the new year when you're done the album, and we want to have a big CD release for you. So we want to hear a little bit of what you've been working with, what your flavor is, man.
All right. This project's been like a labor of love because it's like represents me transitioning out of like an old style of creativity to this new one. I got to build with a lot of people, and I feel like it's a testament of community. So I'm always happy to share it with people in settings like this because it just reminds us that, it takes community to get it popping. It's just me trying and experimenting on some new stuff. So I'll play you like snippets of like a couple of joints. I'll play you a song that's released, and then I'll play you something that's unreleased. All right?
Cool.
This first joint's called Ooh Wee, featuring Elijah Dax from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Whatever you wanted. I'm bending over backward just to have the possibility. Hey, that maybe you could have